welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron, and today we are talking about a topic in relation to women and their attitudes. In my previous video, I did a review on the fact that men do not know what love feels like. This that I'm about to talk about is the reason why. They do not know why and what love feels like. Last night, and this is something I do not do often. I don't go on Instagram. I'm not one to just be on Instagram like that. But every once in a while, I see something that irks my nerves, and I feel like it's a necessity for us to dig into. So, we're going to do that. I saw a video. It was a black woman that was having a conversation about a photograph in which she saw on social media of a bunch of Caucasian women celebrating their engagement the day that they graduated. Now, this speaks because of the fact that, did I not tell you before, your proposal is going to be your graduation. So this is bigger for us than anything else. But this conversation isn't even about that. It is about the reason that the counterfeit didn't end up with your God ordained spouse. This is about the emasculation of men that drove them to be in the state of mind that they didn't know how to love. Okay? That's what this conversation is going to be deep. And I don't think I'm going to go as deep as I really want to go here. I'm going to probably dig deeper in the podcast because I think I'm going to tell you what I got to say here. But I think I'm going to sit down and really work this out for you guys and do it as a podcast. Okay? So let's start off with the fact that women have the tendency that they operate kind of in a backwards viewpoint, that they leave their men in confusion. This is the definition of what a Jezebel will do to a man. Okay? Number one, they are one that feels like they are entitled. I actually have an entire podcast, and I probably am going to take a snippet of that podcast, and I'm going to see how I can work that out, where I talk about the entitlement of people having the feeling like they are entitled to something. If any of you have seen the movie Just Right, Paula Patton played Queen Latifah's cousin, and she felt entitled that she was going to attract a basketball player, and when she attracted this basketball player, that she was going to become the number one first wife in the player box. But the fact of the matter is, she didn't care at all about the man, but she wanted the accolade of being able to say that she sat next to the man and was able to sit in the box with the wives. Okay? These women have a tendency that they feel like they're entitled, and you cannot say anything to them about the fact that they're acting the way that they're acting. Why? Because it's how they grew up. Some of them do not know how to be a wife. Some of them need to have a level of control within their relationship. It must go how they choose, when they choose, how they want, when they want it. And if they do not want it, they ain't gonna be there. What did I talk about before? If you listen to the podcast, I talked about a little of this in the podcast that they will be the woman that lays in the bed next to the man and he could be crying his eyes out. They didn't give half of a darn for that man because of the fact that they are sitting there looking at their nails trying to figure out what they're going to be doing tomorrow because they are not there for the man at all. Okay? Because they feel like they are entitled. Okay? And if they had a smart friend that wanted to confront them, let me show you something. I used to have a roommate a couple years ago. She literally called herself a Barbie doll. I'm not lying. She called herself a Barbie doll. She walked around, prancing around in her heels. I tried to talk to this woman, I don't know how many times. But you know what? She was miserable. You know how I know she was miserable? She used to come back every night, drunker than a skunk, because she was having an issue with a man. I remember one time that she was having a problem. She called me up crying on the phone. And I kept trying to tell her, you got to start to deal with yourself first, or this issue is not going to solve itself. But she didn't want to deal with herself. You know what she said? She would sit and record her own voice reading the Bible because she liked to hear her own voice. And when she said that, I knew you ain't going to get through to her because she like to hear her own self-talk. You ain't going to get past her own voice. That's what some of these women are dealing with. And the men have had to deal with them being that way. Think about it. Think about it. They don't want to hear it, say it, or what is said to mean to it. They don't want to hear it. Not at all. Secondly, they will find every excuse in the world to validate why they do not want to have an intimate relationship that leads to marriage. These kind, sweet, wonderful men, good guys, that some of these women will have the audacity to call them simps. Oh, he was too good for me. Oh, he was too good for me. What you want, the man to beat you upside the head all the time? Because some of these women have those types of guys and they'll stay in that relationship. Talking about them, cussing them out, talking all kinds of ways about them. Oh, no. I'm mad today. I am. I'm sorry. I can't stand unintelligible women. You will sit there and be an idiot. Have a good man at your side. And that good man is sitting there waiting on you. He's waiting for you to change. But you're not going to change because you like to hear your own voice. You're not going to change because you don't care about them. You're not going to change. Oh, we digging into this. They will find every excuse in the world to validate it. The fact of the matter is they don't want to marry the nice guy. They'll turn around and get the nice guy and turn around and cheat on them with the guy that's going to beat them or abuse them and then become sexually obsessed and traumatize that dude. Meaning they're going to traumatize the dude that they were with that was nice. This is why the nice guy is not wanting nor willing to open up to a actual person that cares about them because they were with the chick that was crazy. But they covered up they crazy. Let me tell you something that happened to me with that one roommate. That one roommate was so daggone mentally crazy. I walked in the room one night and she was on the phone screaming at the top of her lungs to this guy. She called the girl in which she thought he was messing around with in order to scream at her and tell her that she was having his child. And that must be for somebody, because it was a lie, because she was mentally, traumatically affected by the fact that she had had a few abortions, meaning she was dealing with the spirit of Moloch. Okay? And that's the only reason I'm saying that. She was dealing with the spirit of Moloch at the time. And she was not going to let that man go. Anybody dealing with the spirit of Moloch, I need you to go over to Tiffany Montgomery and look up the video where she says prayer against abortions and be healed. Okay? Because this woman went batty that night. I didn't know what to do. I was like, she's actually crazy. Why do I express this? Because of the fact some of these men have dealt with women that were just that crazy. They're trying to calmly. I have seen this woman talk on the phone with a man, trying to keep his attention. She would calmly have a conversation with him, but the second that he would turn the conversation as if he was going to break up with her, she start over again. Start acting crazy. Start screaming and crying. And then she had this whole other thing that she was doing that, mental. Leave out in different wigs. She'd go out and spend time with other people, come back, and then want to scream and yell and act like the victim with this man. Y'all need to pray for your goddamn spouses, because some of these men been through it with the women. Through it. Just because the chick got a nice body don't mean that her head is all the way there. Okay? What's the next point? They act like they don't want to be married. They will cheat on the good guy because they know that if that good guy actually pins them down into marriage, which to me, you don't want to let the guy go, but you won't accept a marriage proposal. Because you want to go between him and somebody else, which is a blessing, because that means that if they won't accept the marriage proposal when the guy's ready to go and really does let them go, they gone. But that Jezebelic counterfeit spirit that's upon them will hold on and do everything. I just told you how she went. That's exactly what she did. And she will only hear herself. They don't want a relationship. They'll get cheated on. They were probably cheated on in previous relationships. More than likely, they came from certain types of emotional traumas from their parents that made them think that I gotta hold on to this man because they got this overpowering, controlling thing about them. Some people go into submissiveness when they have a controlling parent. Others go into I gotta control because I'm not gonna be controlled anymore. That's what they're operating in. So they're gonna be the one to cheat. This is where you see narcissism come in. This is where you see things like what happened with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. We're gonna leave that right there. Well, they do this well, but the standards in which they have for men are unrealistic because they will literally hurt the man. They will psychologically mess with a good man, mentally tormenting them to the point I have heard that these women, especially if they are psychologically disturbed, they will give them medications to make the men feel like they are not able and adequate to perform in the bedroom. So they will abuse them verbally and tell them, "Oh, ain't no man, ain't no woman gonna want you because you can't perform in the bedroom no more," when they're the one that are causing it. That's a level of narcissism. They will do something in order to prevent them from being able to leave because they will make them sick. Meaning they will, this is when you see those cases with the black widows that sit there and give the men something to um, systematically mess with their health. And in them messing with their health, the men are not understanding the mental issue that what is happening. This is when you see like the women that are giving them you see them movies like on like it always happens on Lifetime that they gave them like free antifreeze in a food or something like that, and the antifreeze slowly over time was killing them, and because of that they may be using something as another substance to counteract the antifreeze or whatever it was that they were being put on. And all of this is being done by the woman to psychologically keep the man attached to her. Because they're mentally off. They're crazy. So they then try to make the man feel like it's something wrong with him and say, you got to go to therapy. You're the one that needs the help. It ain't me. It's not me. Because they have created this formation. But in all actuality, they are telling them that they need to go to therapy, but they are not practicing what they preach because of the fact that they're the one that's mentally and emotionally needing the help. And they're messing up a good man. Okay? A good man. And then trying to portray themselves operating in a independent woman status. Everybody wants to be the high feminine alpha female. Let me be happy female. Let me be Miss Independent. I'm Miss Independent woman. I'm this, that, and the other. No. Looks cute, don't it? Until you have to operate the business by yourself. Till you have to get the bag by yourself. See, I know some independent women. And you know what? They stressed. They trying to manage everything by themselves. I heard somebody say this a while ago. They said, oh, I'm a Miss Independent woman. I take care of the kids. I do all of this. But you don't. You exhausted trying to take care of everything. You don't really want that. But they're too proud to admit they need a man in their life. That they want one. Because they're not willing to lower themselves to the submission of marriage. Meaning, oh, I am not going to sit up here and be all up on a man and he thinks that he has all of this, that, and the other, but you exhausted. You need the help of the man in your life, in your household. What's wrong with you? You need to leave the cleave. But first, you got to understand what it is to submit in marriage. You have to be able to take yourself up off the pedestal and actually find out your issues internally, help yourself, and then become aligned with what's necessary to walk with that man. Mm-hmm. Properly. Because, see, the problem is they don't want to relinquish the power. They feel like they gained a level of power and they don't want to submit that power into the marriage, because a marriage is submission. They are supposed to join together with their spouse, and their mission because comes sub to the main mission. Their mission as being submitted to the wife, to the husband, is the submission to the main mission of being married. They ain't ready to do that. But they have all of the excuses of why they will not submit. And are operating in the worst behavior. And this usually happens with women of the colored persuasion. More so than, and then you wonder and won't get mad why men will turn around and marry a white woman. Because you too bossy. Ooh, did I step on somebody's toes right there? Because they're operating in bad behavior. See, there is the desire to look the part. You want to look what looks good in marriage, but you don't want to walk in what is good in marriage. This is for my people that are just coming in to this whole kingdom marriage thing and think that you're just going to be like, I'm going to get this kingdom marriage and this, that, and the other thing. Kingdom marriage is work. You can sit here and listen to all these nice, wonderful videos if you want to, but you got to understand your position. You can't just sit here and pray for a kingdom marriage and expect to get it if you're not dealing with your heart, dealing with yourself, dealing with your mind, dealing with your mindset, because there is a benefit to marriage. But you cannot get into it without positioning yourself by preparing yourself, dealing with yourself, allowing the Lord to strip you of those things that are not in His will, His way, and His desire for a relationship. You're not going to just finagle a relationship out of God. You done came to the wrong one. You should have went to the devil. You should have went to a new age practitioner, because that ain't gonna happen from God. God gonna deal with you first, while He's dealing with the man simultaneously that He has chosen for you. But see, a lot of people don't want to go with what God wants to give them. They want to raise up what they believe is a good match for them, and then God's saying, that wasn't who I chose for you. And they want to wonder why that person isn't the right person for them, or why they're having so much problems, because that wasn't the person for them in the first place. But then they want to sit up there as soon as God says no, they wouldn't go find somebody else. And God's like, until you submit that to me. For one, I'm not going to give you anybody until I deal with you. I'm not even going to tell you who that is until I see that your heart is in the right place. That's for the people that are just here in the back, ear hustling. Okay? So, with that being said, some people will use that child for the marriage benefit of the fact that, especially if they can get connected with a man that got money, they will sit up there and marry the man, have kids with the man, and use that man for his money, because as soon as they have kids, they know that that child support check is going to take care of that kid. And if in some cases, depending on who they are and what status they have, is going to take care of them too. I remember watching, anybody remember Medea? I think it wasn't the family reunion, it was the other one big family or something like that, when Loretta Devine's character was dying and she desperately tried to get that family together before she passed away, but it didn't work until afterwards. But there was Bow Wow's character with what's her name? I forget what her name is, that played the baby mama. They used to always scream his name in a long drawn out way. She would take the child support checks and spend the money on herself. Some of these women, they ain't there for the men, period. They don't even want the kid. The kid is an accessory. They using that as leverage. Just like the person that walks around with the dog. That's what that kid is. And some of them will actually walk around with the kid on a leash. You've seen the leash bags. You've seen the leash bags that hold them kids on a leash. These are Vashtis. They're Vashtis. Let's see, how much time do I have? They want to be equal to the men in certain behaviors, meaning they want to go out and they want to be that alpha female. They want to go out, I'm gonna be that one, I'm that bad person, I'm that flawless, I'm that this, I'm that. It's one of those, they can go out and be with as many men just like the men can be with as many women. They out here to prove some type of competition in relation to, but these people, you don't want to get married. You don't. You don't really want marriage. You want somebody to say that they stand next to you. You want the man to be your trophy. You don't want to be somebody that he's in love with. You want to just say that you got him standing next to you. Oh, look, I got the dude. But do you really want him? Do you really want him to love you? Are you going to really pay attention to him? Or is he just going to be an ornament to you? When you feel like you won't pull him out, you won't, and then you wonder why that man turn around and cheat on you because you're not giving him no attention. This is for the people in the back that came in thinking they're going to come into kingdom marriage related conversation and not know what it's really about. And then you wonder why these men are so daggone broken. It's these women trying to manipulate. And it's so amusing to me, the fact that you got women like this, and then you got the man that's the manipulator and the playboy that just want to sleep with whoever they want to sleep with. But they don't pick these chicks. Because you know why they don't pick these chicks? Because they can't overpower that chick. They too much like a man. So that man that wants to overpower is never going to pick that woman. Because that woman wants to overpower a man, and they never gonna work. Never. Because somebody gotta submit to somebody. And those two will never submit to each other. But the amusing thing is that if you get two calm, loving, caring people, they eventually will come to want and love each other, because they are going to sit and heal their broken pieces, because they both dealt with the same trauma, because they dealt with men and women like that. So yeah. So they sit up there and they have the gold digger that will sit up there and try to get the man's money, but bash the man because it makes them feel good. They will try to get them into arguments. They will fight them. And the sad part is they do this to the nice guy because they know they can't do it with a man that is an actual alpha male that is not going to take that foolishness. They will leave before they will allow that woman to be all up in their face about foolishness. You know the woman I'm talking about, the ones that will put their fingers all up in the man's face, pluck them and do all kinds of stupidness, be out in public, fully embarrass them, act like daggone fools. They'll only do that with the nice guy because they know that the nice guy is never going to stand up to them to that degree. They'll get annoyed. Oh, they will. They'll get annoyed by it, but they're not going to stand up because they have too much respect as a man to disrespect this woman, even though she's fully on disrespecting him. But she'll make him go to therapy. So, with that being said, and they sit there and tell them how much they don't need them by their actions, and some of them by their words. They tell them they don't need them, but do something to them to make sure that they'll stay. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. They're double-minded, okay? They are double-minded and psychologically disassociated with themselves. They want one thing but cannot do it because they are disrespecting a man. They cannot consciously stand next to a man and stand near that man and let that man be in power. They can't do it because they don't know how. Because they can't relinquish their alpha female and deal with themselves so that they can be the submissive woman. So they become a woman that hates and operates in a level of racism against their own kind of man. And then they wonder why that man will turn around and marry a white woman. Oh, this was just summary. I think I want to deal deeper with this in my podcast. I don't know when I'm going to do this episode, but because I was able to finish the content here, I want to know what you think. So we're going to come back on the podcast. I'll let you know when it is and discuss that. Leave a comment if you like what you heard. Until next time, bye-bye.